Hello, in this video we are going to review estimating products. Estimating is basically making your best educated guess using some rules, and products are the answer to multiplication problems. So we're going to do these problems and we're going to estimate our best guesses at what the actual product is without actually doing the full multiplication. So we're being asked to estimate each product. Problem number one is 5 and 23 hundredths times 8 and 3 tenths. All you have to do to estimate the products is to round them to the nearest whole number and then multiply. So for example, 5 and 23 hundredths. You look at the number to the right of the 5, and if it is 4 below, you leave it alone. That'll just be a 5. If the number to the right was 5 or more, 5 or above, give it a shove. I don't know if you ever heard that rhyme. It basically tells you if it's 5 or above in the tens place, you give the 5 a shove up to a 6. If it's 4 or below, you let it go, which means if the number to the right in the tens place is 4 or below, you leave it alone and it's still going to be a 5. But in essence, what you're really doing is you're seeing if 5, and we're just going to look at the 2, so I'll cover up 3, if 5 and 2 tenths is closer to 5 or closer to 6. If you think of it that way, I hope you see it a little better. 5 and 2 tenths is closer to 6, or sorry, closer to 5. And 8 and 3 tenths, is it closer to 8 or is it closer to 9? Well, since 3 is smaller than 4, the 8 and 3 tenths is closer to 8 than it is to 9. And then you keep the multiplication. That is rounding it to the nearest whole number. If you know how to round, then you can just round them a little bit quicker than I just explained. 5 and 23 hundredths becomes 5, 8 and 3 tenths becomes 8, and then 5 times 8 is 40. As you're doing this, you should be showing your work algebraically, which means the rounding of 5 and 23 hundredths goes underneath it, the multiplication goes down, and the rounding of the 8 and 3 tenths goes right underneath it. Then when you multiply 5 times 8, the answer should go under the multiplication, and that is your final answer. So again, each time you do these, you're going to round in the nearest whole number, which means look at the tens place. So for number 2, here's the 8, and in the tens place, it's 4. Below, you let it go. It's still going to be an 8. It's closer to 8. For 5 tenths, it's 5 or above. Give the 0 a shove. That means a 0 will become a 1 because it is closer to 1 than it is to 0. And actually, this one's tied, but if it's a 5, it goes up. And the multiplication stays, and then 8 times 1 is just 8. So 8 and 46 hundredths times 5 tenths is about 8. Number 3, 2 and 5 tenths is 5 or above. Give it a shove. 2 becomes a 3. And 19 and 8 tenths is 5 or above. Give 19 a shove up to 20. And 2 and 5 tenths times 19 and 8 tenths is about 60. You do 3 times 20 is 60. And the last one, you have the 2. Look at the tens place. Is 4 below. Let it go. It's just going to stay at 2. 4 and 2 tenths is closer to 2. 9 and 3 tenths is 4 below. Let it go. 9 and 3 tenths is closer to just 9. Keep the multiplication symbol. And 2 times 9 is 18. Estimating is one of those things as a middle school teacher that it seems very straightforward, I hope, but it's one of those things that is missed a lot because too many people see it as being way too easy and don't really give it the respect it needs. They don't really study it or practice it. And then when they have to do it, they don't always remember what everything is or how to do it. So again, just round the nearest whole number and then multiply.